Hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Towel Boy, where we try to give you the cleanest takes in sports. Today we're doing a week two NFL preview. Right, last week we talked about week one, things we were looking forward to from each team, gave my predictions for each game. I went 7-9 in my game predictions last week, so definitely hoping to go improve on that score, on that number this week, week two. Now we have a little bit better idea of each team, right? We know what kind of their identity, what they want to look like. Not a perfect picture, right? Just one game and not enough to know exactly how each team looks, but we have a better idea. So hopefully can go at least above 500. Talking about each game, what I want to see in each game, what excites me the most, what storyline for each game. Uh, so we're gonna start with just the Thursday night game with the Commanders versus the Packers, which I think should be a pretty fun game. Two fairly exciting teams, and I just want to say last week the Packers they were probably the most surprisingly like borderline elite looking team. They were like the Ravens and Bills. I think were that the top two. That game was amazing, by the way, and then the Packers might have been the best team, right? Maybe the Lions regressed slightly, but the Packers dominated from start to finish. I don't think the Lions looked that bad. The Packers just looked really, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing if the Packers can kind of build on that, right? Can they give that repeat performance? Because I saw a lot of people saying they could be NFC contenders this season, and I didn't truly buy into them being elite Super Bowl players. But if they played like they did last week with Lucas Van Ness joining in with Micah Parsons on the defensive end, right? Jordan Love was slinging it to whoever was out there. On the first drive, I think it was like eight completions to seven different receivers while they just marched down the field. They stuffed the Lions' dynamic offense. They looked really good. So can they build on that? Then the Commanders, nothing crazy, just kind of they looked not bad, but it, Jane Daniels looked a little rusty. How the offense looked, can they kind of catch on right away? I would hope for some Thursday fireworks, right? I want to see Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love go off. Debo Samuel looked good for the Commanders last week, so can he build on that, right? Just seeing if they can look a little bit more explosive to me is what I want to look for in Washington. In that game, Commanders versus the Packers, Thursday night game, they look really elite. They're the home team. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers in that game. Then starting off another NFC East rivalry, right? Giants versus the Cowboys. Big game, always a really fun one, no matter how good or how bad each team is each year. It's always super fun. Looking at this game, the Cowboys defensively still, I just don't think are very good. Can they answer those question marks? Can they improve? The offense I thought was pretty good, right? We watched the game. CD let down Dak. Dak looked pretty good last week. Can their defense just kind of step up, answer the questions that a lot of people are asking? And then for the Giants, the biggest thing, like how long will Russell Wilson be their quarterback? After last week's performance, Giants fans already wanted him gone. Head coach Brian Dable was non-committal with who was going to be the starting quarterback right after the game. I give it till max week six, probably till Jackson Dart is thrown out there. So just how long will Russ last? How does he look against the Cowboys, who aren't the best defense? Is he able to expose them? Right. The Cowboys secondary is definitely stronger than their front seven, so we'll see how that goes. I have the Cowboys winning this game against the Giants. Game number three, we have Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers looked better, way better than I would have expected, especially from an offensive standpoint. Uh, Aaron Rodgers threw for four touchdowns, was throwing it to Ben Skowronek, Calvin Austin. DK Metcalf looked like the weapon that the Steelers hoped he would be. But defensively, a lot of question marks, right? Justin Fields and the Jets diced him up. Now, that being said, maybe the Jets are just really good. They looked good. But also on paper, it's Justin Field and Garrett Wilson and not a ton of other weapons offensively. Uh, was that a fluke game? The highest paid defense in the entire league. You want them to play better than they did last week. See the Steelers' defensive improvement. Seahawks, I just want to see them look better. They didn't look very good against the 49ers. Um, just see overall improvement. I had the Steelers winning this game against the Seahawks. Rams versus the Titans. I'm picking the Los Angeles Rams to win this game. I just think they are the better team. Um, Last week, I thought the defense looked pretty dang good against the Texans. Now, again, the Texans, I think, might struggle. Their offensive line is pretty. not good. But can Byron Young and Jared Verse keep being those like borderline elite pass rushers off the edge for the Rams? Can that repeat in week two against the Titans, who their offensive line looked good in moments last week against the Broncos? So that's my question mark for the Rams. Titans built on Cam Ward's performance in week one. Now, the stats may not look amazing, but he put his team in position to have a chance, right? He gave his team a chance to have a chance, basically. Now, he had some bad sacks, missed some throws. His stats will not wow you, like I said, but he had some big time throws. There were some drops. He missed some reads, but for a week one rookie quarterback performance against maybe the best defense in the league, I thought it was a pretty positive overall experience for the Titans fans, right? I think Titans will be very pleased with what they saw with Cam Ward, continue to build around him. But that being said, I'm going to go with the Rams winning this game. Next game could be really exciting. I would not have guessed it preseason, but we got the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. The Jets looked awesome last week. Maybe gave us, I would have said game of the week before the Buffalo Bills game against the Ravens Sunday night, right? Uh, my question, are the Jets legit? Justin Fields looked awesome. Brees Hall looked really good. Garrett Wilson was good. The defense is good, right? The Jets looked legit. Now, can they answer the question against the elite of the NFL in the Buffalo? Are they a legit team, or is that maybe a fluke week one? We will see. The Bills, I want to see if Keon Coleman was drafted to maybe be their wide receiver one, right? Take over as the main guy once they got rid of Stephon Diggs. Last week they utilized him. He had over 100 yards, touchdown, right? He was targeted a lot. Was that just game script? They had to come back against the Ravens, or is Keon Coleman supposed to be that dude in Buffalo? I want to see that. And also the run game looked pretty horrendous against the Ravens. I think it was 100, barely over 100 yards, poor average for every running back. Run game was not good, so I'm looking forward to that, seeing if they can improve there. I'm going to go Buffalo winning the game. They might be the best team in the NFL. I think New York looked good. Still going to go with the Bills here. Then staying out in the East, AFC East, we got the Patriots versus the Dolphins. I'm going the Patriots. I wrote about it in my blog. Uh, please check that out. My week one review, hoopstanstuff.blogspot.com. I'll put a link in the description. But the Dolphins looked like last week the worst team in the NFL. Are they really that bad, or was that also maybe a fluke bad game? We will see. For the Patriots, Drake May didn't play great. Year two quarterback, didn't start the whole last year, but you would want him to see a little bit more out of last week. And then I just want to see Travion Henderson play more. They drafted him with a high overall pick. Patriots, use him more. That's what I would want to see as a fan. As a neutral guy, I want to see Travion Henderson play more. That being said, uh, Patriots are winning this game. Dolphins looked horrendous last week. Speaking of teams that looked horrendous last week, we have Jaguars versus the Bengals, right? Trevor Lawrence, time is running out. I don't think he's that dude, which is crazy because I still have stock. I, he was one of the most highly touted prospects. He just hasn't shown anything better than being a above average quarterback. You'll see the flashes. I don't think he's that dude. Showed it again last week. I don't think he's that dude. Prove me wrong, right? That is my week two thing. That's probably going to be a very consistent thing for me with the Jaguars each week. Trevor, prove me wrong. The Bengals, they should have lost last week to a terrible Browns team, who I projected to be the second worst team in the NFL. The defense was horrendous, and the offense was horrendous. They should have lost the game, right? Browns missed kicks. Bengals got lucky. They had 7 yards the entire second half and won the game. That's probably something you will never, ever, ever see again. So, can the Bengals just not be that awful? You would think a Joe Burrow led team wouldn't be that awful, especially on offense. Can they improve? Them being so awful that I'm still going to say the Bengals are going to win the game. I'm not going to bet on Burrow and Chase and company being that horrendous again. Bengals are winning this game. Next game on paper to me is probably the snoozer of the week. 49ers versus the Saints. Saints are garbage, I think. They looked better than I thought, but I don't think they're very good. That's what my initial take on the Saints are. 49ers, who's going to play wide receiver from the 49ers? George Kittle is hurt. Jawan Jennings is questionable. Um, who's the guy who's going to step up? Looking for that. It's probably just more McCaffrey, but I'm curious to see if Purdy can play better. Find a guy he has a connection with. I had the 49ers winning that game. Browns were the Ravens. Browns looked better than I expected. Still don't think they're very good. Ravens collapsed. Epic all-time collapse. They still look elite. My question is, the Browns defense I do think is pretty good. Can they slow down that offensive juggernaut that the Ravens have down there in Baltimore? That'll be interesting to see how those two sets, offense versus defense, kind of line up. I'm going Baltimore. Ravens are winning this game. Bears versus the Lions, the Ben Johnson game, right? Caleb Williams had some moments where I thought he looked really impressive. Then he had moments, missed a lot of throws, let the Vikings come back Monday night. Very, to me, very a 50-50 game. Can he improve on that? Bears fans are pleading that he can. The Lions just did not look very good, right? Week one, no Ben Johnson. They were missing some explosiveness that they usually have had. I think hopefully just working out the rest, right? I think that's what it kind of comes down to. Can they work out the rest with a new offensive coordinator, learning a new playbook, all those things? I'm gonna go with an upset here. I'm gonna say the Ben Johnson game. Ben Johnson cooks up a crazy scheme. Caleb plays good. Chicago goes into Detroit, upsets the Lions. Lions start 0-2. That would be a fun storyline. Bears are beating the Lions. Broncos versus the Colts. I have the Broncos winning this game. I want to see the Broncos offense improve. They looked pretty horrendous last week. Defense looked elite, held the Titans to like you couldn't ask your defense to do more, right? Um, Offense did not look very good. Once they started using their weapons like Dobbins and Henderson a little bit more, not Henderson, Harvey, Dobbins and Harvey a little bit more, started cooking up a little bit. Offense needs to be better. Colts was last week a fluke, put up a lot of points against a bad Dolphins team. Daniel Jones looked pretty good. Tyler Warren looked good. Michael Pittman looked good. How does that look against an elite defense in Denver? We will see. Going Denver still. Broncos are winning this game. Panthers versus the Cardinals. It was quite a bummer for me as a leader of the Bryce Young bandwagon to see him look so bad last week. Hopefully he bounces back. Encouraging signs from Tetaroa McMillan. He looked awesome, had some crazy catches, but Bryce Young looked like the Bryce Young that got benched. So hopefully he comes back, bounces back. Against the Cardinals, Cardinals looked not bad. Will Johnson had some awesome moments against the Saints. I still, this is like the Trevor Lawrence thing. I'll say this every week because I think he's a dude. I want to see more Marvin Harrison every week. So that's what I want to see from the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals winning this game. They're home. Panthers defense is bad. Based off what I saw last week, the Cardinals are going to win this game. This game could be fun. Next game, Eagles versus the Chiefs. Now, my thing for both teams is the exact same. What is the passing game going to look like? I've said it before. It's in my blog again. Please read hoopsandstuff.blogspot. But the Eagles' pass game can be so much more. They have AJ Brown, a top maybe five receiver. Devontae Smith, maybe the best number two, arguably top 20 receiver in the league. Dallas Goddard, I think, is a top six tight end in the league. They just can't find it to be clicking offensively in the passing game where I would want it to be. Obviously, they won a Super Bowl. They have a very good offense. When you have Saquon, why would you throw it? I get all of that. But my argument is you can unlock Saquon even more if you give the weapons that you have more opportunity, like an AJ Brown, like a Devontae Smith. So I want to see more out of them. Same thing on the other side, the Chiefs passing game. With Hollywood Brown going down, who is the dude? With Xavier Worthy, excuse me, with Xavier Worthy going down, who is the dude? Is it Hollywood Brown, who had almost 100 yards off of 10 catches, right? Not a ton of, wasn't very dynamic with the catches that he got. Rashid Rice is still out. Travis Kelsey, I know he caught the touchdown. He didn't look very good. Are you going to rely on Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster? They probably are. So, how does the passing game look for both of these teams? Overall, I think the Eagles are the better team. I think the Eagles are going to win. Eagles are going to win this game. Next game, we got the Falcons versus the Vikings. Two second-year QBs, Michael Penix versus JJ McCarthy. I'm looking at both of those quarterbacks basically. Um, from the standpoint of Michael Penix, Drake London has some question marks. Darnell Mooney still not playing, or question marks on his health status. What are they going to do? Is it Kyle Pitts time? I want to see Bijan Robinson get more touches in the run game, right? He had an awesome 50-yard touchdown to start the game. In the past game, on the ground, not as explosive. Can he be a better runner this week against the Vikings defense? Against a tough defense, right? Brian Flores, one of the best coordinators in the league. And then the Vikings, you want to see more consistency from JJ McCarthy. The fourth quarter Monday night was awesome. He showed that he's a dog. He got the leadership skills. The first three quarters, he looked like one of the worst quarterbacks of the weekend. So get he won the game, absolutely. But the overall game, if you take out the score, the comeback, the storyline was not very good. You want to see a better overall game from the Vikings. I'm picking the Vikings to win the game. They're at home. Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores, maybe the best coaching staff in the league. They're going to game plan. They're going to prepare. JJ is going to be better, I think. The Vikings will win this game. Next game, we got the Buccaneers versus the Texans. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers because the Texans' offensive line is so horrendous. We talked about it. Getting rid of Leonard Tunsil made no sense, and their line just looks worse. CJ Stroud is a freaking beast. I still believe that. You can't be a beast. I don't care how good a quarterback is if your offensive line is as bad as the Texans. That's all I have to say really about this game. Uh, Hopefully they improve, but the Buccaneers are going to win this game. And then the last Monday night game was it 10 Eastern start time? That is crazy. Um, Please don't do all these NBA West Coast start times. I don't like that. I want to go to bed. But that being said, Chargers versus Raiders, two fun teams, AFC West rivalry. Are the Chargers more of a pass heavy team? Last week against the Chiefs, we saw Harbaugh and Herbert kind of sling it out a little bit more, right? We saw Keenan Allen get involved, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnston all had productive games. We know Harbaugh and Greg Roman want to be run heavy, but when you got to do like Justin Herbert, are you just going to trust Herbert to sling it, let it fly with Herbert? I'm curious to see how consistent their game plan is week to week. And then the Raiders, uh, the thing I want to see more, I love Geno. Everybody knows that. I'm looking at Ashton Genty. He didn't look awesome last week. Week one, who knows? Of course, week one, give rookies some grace. He scored a touchdown, but he was not very efficient with his touches. Um, so you want to see better out of him. In that game, I'm gonna go. I think it'll be a fun game. I think it might be a high scoring game. I'm still gonna choose the Justin Herbert. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think better overall team right there in Los Angeles. There it is. That's my week two preview and predictions. Um, like I said, last week's week one, right up on my blog, I have posted. I'm going to put the link in the description. Please check that out. Comment some of your takes from week one, what you guys noticed. Hopefully, I go better than 7-9 with my week two predictions. And I'm excited to watch some more football. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, have a good one.